So as many of you may know, I am 66, soon to be 67. Oh my gosh, where has the time gone? And I've often been told that I neither look nor act my age, which I'm very proud of not acting my age. But I have a panel of ladies today that are old. I'm the baby of the group. And all of them, at some point or another, I have looked at and said, you are not that old. Which leads us to today's episode. Welcome to the Rebel Tribe, where women set the pace and we are leading the revolution and leading the charge, changing how women are defined in today's society. And today we're going to talk about aging well, I guess would be the term I'm looking for. So ladies, would you all introduce yourselves, and if you are so inclined, share your age? We'll start with Julia since she's in my upper corner there.
Okay, hi everybody. I am Julia Neiman, and you might have seen me talking to Melodian the other day about disaster preparedness. So I just turned 74, and oh my gosh, how did I get here? And I'm a retired social worker, and I believe in doing in life what I'm passionate about. And if I'm not passionate about it, I'm not doing it.
Sweet. Sharon, and feel free to share your episodes, ladies. Go ahead and give them a plug because you've all done one.
Okay, I'm Sharon Reese. I just turned 77 on Sunday, St. Patrick's Day. And I live in North Texas. Yeah, and we did an episode. I can't remember what we called it, Melodian, but yeah.
It was
was fun.
about, yeah, it was about her book, which is awesome, and her time as a missionary in Brazil.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
Carrie.
Hi, I'm Terry. I'm 73. I'm in Tucson, and I'm a retired professional artist with a cat. I don't know what else to say. I do little tiny itty bitty things now because I'm disabled and I can't do what I used to do, but I still do my art. That's my art is like just so much a part of myself. That I had to find a way to be able to continue to create. And so that's what I occupy my days with.
And we had quite the lengthy discussion on creating multiple income streams.
Oh, yeah, that was a few years back, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
Betty.
Okay, hi. This is a fun topic here. I'm Betty Withrow. I am a very very immature 71-year-old. And I think if I do think of myself as being older, I think that, okay, well, I am mature, but I'm not really. And you and I did an episode recently, Melodian, on my book, The Essential Excuse Handbook. I work all the time in writing. I'm always doing something, either writing it, editing it, consulting on it, um, pushing it or something. And I love language and everything that language does. So that's what I'm all about.
And I think that really is what makes the difference for all of us, is we all have this thing that we are passionate about and we just devote ourselves to it, and we don't let anything slow us down and get in the way of us doing that thing that I'm always saying, it sets your soul on fire, because it does. It's that thing that gets you up in the morning and makes you head for the computer at whatever ungodly hour of the time morning I was on the computer this morning. So and I think that makes a difference. But when people talk about aging well, I think most of them are thinking like health wise mostly. They don't think about anything else. And as you know, Terry mentioned, she's disabled, and yet I still look at her and say she has aged well. So how would you guys define aging well as women in today's society? What do you think that means, aging well?
I'm going to pop in because you just mentioned me, and because I'm currently experiencing that right now. I had a period of time where I couldn't sit up for very long. Something happened in my back, blah blah blah, and I had to retrain it, and it took me a while. So now I'm working again, and my blood pressure dropped 20 points when I started doing my artwork again. Okay. I mean, boom, like that. And I mean, it went to normal. I haven't seen normal blood pressure in years. I want to get up in the morning. It's important. It's important to have something that you care about that occupies your time. And I mean, care about, for yourself. I don't mean people that you care about. I mean, something that you are passionate about, that is so much a part of your soul that if you can't do it, you just kind of like don't even care about getting up or even living sometimes. That's all I want. I don't know how else to say it, but I have to create. It's just such a basic part of me that without it, I am not a happy person.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have a saying that if I'm not making something, there's something wrong. Because besides writing, I do art in different mediums myself. So I know really, what you're talking about, Terry. It's like, that's the thing. I think one of the cool things about gaining experience and going through a trial where you can't do things and then getting back and being able to do it is you start to appreciate that it's not it's not just about you, it's about you in the flow of creativity. You start being ready to release your personal idea much more easily than you could when earlier.
And the other thing is that it's not okay. Creating something is wonderful, but at the end of the day or whatever, or at the end of the project, you have something that didn't exist before. But for me, it's not the object or what I create. It's the creating that's the most important. It soothes my soul. Okay. I can give you all the little platitudes and it does all of those things. And it's, especially for women, now I didn't go that route. I didn't get married. I didn't have children, but so many of us do. And we devote our lives to the family and we put ourselves aside for a big chunk of our lives as we raise those families. And then we get to a certain age and they're gone and they don't need us and they're not around. And then boom, we have this, they call empty nest, but it's more than that. It's like an empty soul. And I think it's so important to keep something for yourself, and to nourish it because it nourishes you.
Sharon, Julia?
For me, when I think about aging well, the way I would define that is being able to do everything I feel that God has called me to do for as long as He has me here on this earth, and not have limitations. And that has been my goal, really. So I don't think I have just one passion. I have multiple multiple passions. But and one of them, of course, is my running, which I started running when I was 70. And
Oh wow.
I ran a marathon right after I turned 75. And I'm still doing half marathons, but that is something that energizes me so much, both physically, mentally, spiritually, every way imaginable. And I just can't imagine my life without running now. After 70 years, I never ran, but I've been running for 7. So
That's really inspiring.
Yeah,
It's pretty amazing to start running in your 70s. That's great.
Yeah. So
I was inspired by someone who was 99 and still running.
Wow.
Oh, still, I thought you were going to say they started at 99. I'm going,
No,
oh my
no.
God.
That's
Julia,
pretty
what about
amazing.
you?
So for me, I don't actually have a definition for what it is. I just kind of live it. And that's why I say, like, do what you're passionate about. Because Terry, as you were talking, what struck me is that you're doing what I believe in is you are taking personal responsibility for creating the energy that you need to keep you going. And that's what keeps you young. And that's why I always say, tell people, no, I follow my passion. I do what I'm passionate about. Because when you do what you're passionate about, that's what lights you up. That's what makes you want to get up in the morning. You've got something to look forward to that you just love doing. And that creates this flow of energy within your body and your mind. And that's what just keeps us all going.
Yeah.
Really,
And
without, those are the people that lay around, watch TV all day and say they have nothing to do. And they age pretty quickly.
Yeah, they do.
well, and the thing is that in doing that, at least I have discovered this, you are doing, it's a physically healthy thing for you. It's as nourishing your soul is as important as nourishing your body
Yes.
for keeping you healthy. I was amazed at everything. I mean, I still hurt, but it's like I managed that better. You know, plus I'm not bored, so I'm not constantly eating, you know what I mean? And I'm not, because I was sitting there just basically watching TV because pretty much couldn't do anything else. And I thought, oh, if I have to continue to do this for any more, you know, I might as well not be here, you know. But it's a physically healthy thing if you feed your mental and emotional self as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think it's essential. And the creativity, like you were mentioning earlier, Terry, it's not about the object or the artifact or the article or whatever it is. It's about the connection with being and and making and doing and releasing, all of that. The releasing part is a really, I think, a big piece that we when we release things well, it doesn't matter if we hold on to things and we don't release them well, we get sick. And so I mean, one of the things that motivates me, because I work with a lot of different people on different projects, like I said, I wake up kind of going, oh, what does so and so need today, and it gets me going outside of myself to say, how can I connect what I know how to do with what somebody else needs? And it's really rewarding to look at life that way.
It really is. I was brought up, my mother always was a volunteer for something
Uh-huh.
and brought me up with the tenet that, you do better in life when you are in service to others.
Yeah.
Because that comes back to you tenfold. So
Mhm.
just serve others. Don't worry whether it's going to come back to you or not. It just does. And she was
Yeah.
right.
Well,
That's been
there's
my
a joy in sharing it with others too.
yeah.
I mean, you know, it's because it's like with art. It doesn't matter if you're good. It doesn't matter if you're a great artist. The end result isn't the thing. If it's, you know, if you feel good doing it, and I have a friend come over and we do some art together, and it's, you know, I'm not saying what I'm trying to say right, but I can see how she relaxes. Uh, you know, it's like, and it's enjoyable and good. You know, you feel good knowing that you shared, you know, some of that joy that you get, that you taught a little of that somebody else may experience it.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't say that right, but I'm hoping everybody gets it. I'm pretty sure you all do.
Yeah, we get what you're saying.
So y'all
Yeah.
know I'm an online marketer, and I'm on it like everything. If there's a social media platform out there, I have a presence on it. Despite the fact that I teach everybody you don't have to do that. I do that because I don't feel like I can teach people how to do it if I'm not on them. So when I announced to my grandson that I was about to venture into the world of TikTok. And the first words out of his mouth were, "You can't get on TikTok, Grandma, you're too old." Which, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, wasn't that big a deal, but it made me think for a minute about all of the stereotypes and the misconceptions about women and about aging and that we all deal with every day, and how we have to, you know, how do we change that? So, I mean, my thing was, okay, what do you mean I can't get on TikTok? Watch this. And I immediately was like, okay, here you go. Here's my first TikTok. And I mean, I send them to him now. When I do something I'm particularly pleased with, I'll send it to him like, here you go. Look, Granny's on TikTok. Look at all the views she got. Grandma's on TikTok. So how do you, what are some, have you ever dealt with that? Do you guys have to deal with misconceptions and stereotypes about your age, and how do we change that? How do we challenge that?
All the time. And you have to challenge it directly. Like I've had this experience with a young doctor, okay, my primary care. He's like a young guy. And I said to him once, I got so annoyed with him. I said to him, you know, I hate you. I feel like you treat me like I'm this invisible thing that comes into your office and wastes your time. And it pisses me off. And if it doesn't change, I'm going to report you. I told him that. He was like so taken aback. Well, that's who I am, Terry. That's who I
Good.
am. I'm just direct. I say what I feel, and I don't hold grudges either. So he and I get along great
I
right now.
love it. I love it. I love it.
He turned around, he apologized. He said he didn't realize he was doing it. And it turns out that's what they teach them in medical school. They don't really train them yet. It's changing a little, but they don't really train them to look at women's health issues separately. They still train them like men are the only ones that have issues and you have to treat women like you treat men. And that's totally wrong. So now he knows if he's going to refer me, he tries to find a female doctor to refer me to, because men are told him men are useless.
Well, and even some of the women doctors are because they've been brought up. The patriarchy is who trained them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And so, you know, and women are traditionally, you know, I don't want to get too much into this because it's a bugaboo. It's one of my pet peeves, but we are traditionally minimalized by the medical profession.
Yeah.
They don't hear us. They don't listen to us. They
right.
don't believe us. And then the older you get, the worse that gets.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so my point is, you need to learn to advocate for yourself, and you need to be direct about it. And we need to take personal responsibility for what we need in life and make sure that that's communicated to the people who are supposed to provide that to us. And I won't accept anything less anymore.
100%.
Yeah.
Anybody
Yeah.
else deal with it? I mean, I have
Yeah.
not really experienced it too badly. Well, actually, I come to think of it, I was
I
stereotyped not because of
have
my
a
age.
story that's kind of that's sort of it's a whole different field, but um it's about a kid at a gas station. Okay, so I was going to this gas station on a regular basis, and this kid who was probably 19 or 20, and I think related to the owners or something, had kind of a I'm all that in a bag of chips attitude, right? And he would say, "Here you go, young lady," or something like that to me, right? And I was getting annoyed because the way, and I was like, you know. And so one day, I think that maybe the second or third time he said it, I said, "Don't say that to me. I'm old enough to be your grandmother." And he kind of looked at me like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, so knock it off." And
Good for you. For you.
It's patronizing and it's condescending, and they don't
exactly. I
realize
was
it.
like, yeah, who the hell are you? We don't call me young lady. If you're 90, you can do that. Otherwise, shove off. And so then one day I go in there and I hear him saying something about, "Oh yeah, grandma over there." I was like, yeah, see, screw off. So
And don't you hate when they call you honey and sweetheart? Oh,
yeah, that
Well,
doesn't happen.
that's because they can't remember your name. But
Yeah,
that's probably right.
yeah. Once in a while, somebody calls me honey, but it's usually somebody I know and I can take it from them, you know,
that's
because they
no, I
mean
know.
it, you know. That's all right.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, it just depends on the attitude. I mean, if
Yeah.
they're if you think that it's you know, sometimes people say honey and dear, and
Yeah.
it's just you know, it's not meant, it's meant kindly, blah blah blah. And
Yeah.
sometimes like that young man, you know, it's meant in a kind of a snippy, condescending way, and you can
Yeah.
hear it. And it's
Yeah.
like, what is it that when you get to a certain age that all of a sudden people think that you become a moron and you do not anymore understand sarcasm? You don't hear the tone of voice, that they
Right.
can take you like a 2-year-old because you just don't, you know, you don't understand.
Yeah.
And speaking of not understanding, my experience with the ageism thing and this baby boomer thing, the dislike of the boomers, and talking like we don't understand the technology of today. You little whippersnappers, who do you think created this technology? Who, excuse me, but you know, the gentleman who started Intel, they are in their 80s. And you're telling people in their 80s who grew up with this and worked in this industry that we don't know how to use a computer. I was building computers before you were you know, before you were born. Okay.
Exactly.
But they just assume that we are doddering idiots, and it drives me insane. But I don't, if they were in person in front of me, I would get into a conversation. I don't do it on the internet because you just start an unending troll party that I don't want to get into.
Right. Right. Right.
But if somebody's in front of me and they say something like that, yeah, I'm confrontational. And I never used to be. I am now. I'm old. I figure I don't care if you like me anymore. I don't care.
Isn't that
You
great?
know?
I love that
Yeah,
part.
yeah. It's like, I don't care if you approve of me.
You know, and I think that's the currency there is, you know, well, we're supposed to be in the minds of somebody like that kid, we're supposed to be afraid to say something because we're this nice little old lady. I'm like, you got that totally wrong. I'm a raging biatch, and you know, and you just blew it, you know. So
Yeah.
get
You know, I mean,
blew it
they
because there's more
forget
of us.
they're out there. I mean, these kids are, and I think it's great that they're involved and they care, but they
Yeah.
forgot that, hello, who do you think was being thrown in jail in the 70s?
Yeah.
yeah.
It, it was us.
Yeah.
We were marching. We were getting hit by billy clubs. And, you know, I mean, we weren't getting sprayed with hoses. We were getting hit with billy clubs and stomped on by horses and then thrown in jail. You guys forget that we kind of did that, you know. Hello. You know, I'm not a granny.
What
Well,
about you, Sharon, as a runner? Do you ever experience, I know when you show up to some of your events, do you ever feel like they look at you like, what's grandma doing here running a marathon? I
Oh,
don't
no, absolutely the contrary. I have one of the first half marathons that I ran. These young runners would go by me and they'd high five and they'd say, "Good for you. I want to be like you when I grow up." And, you know, I mean, just so honoring. It's just been an incredible thing. Um, and even when some of the people who know me, not strangers, but people who know me say, "Well, young lady, you just had a birthday." I take that as a compliment for me.
sure, because they're saying it, if they mean it.
Yeah.
They mean it. That's
Yeah.
different. Yeah,
Yeah. The
Well,
tone of voice is everything.
it is.
Yeah. It's a big
It is.
difference.
And the context. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
if they're there high-fiving you and saying, "Yeah, young lady," because like, hey, you know what? You're not even 90 yet. You're
Yeah, right.
Well, you know, it made me wonder, and I've noticed that if you're doing something physical, like I have to use a wheelchair, okay? And so when I'm in it and I'm trying to, you know, you open your own doors and stuff like that. And it's nice people want to help, but you know, sometimes they're not there. You have to learn how to open a door in a wheelchair.
Mhm.
And people go, "Oh, I just think it's so great," you know, and they're very complimentary and it's very nice. But and you were talking about running. I wonder, I don't know, what does everybody else think? Do you think that people are more appreciative of you doing something physical, like running or being able to open a door or something like that, as opposed to, I don't know what I'm saying opposed to, but you know, sometimes it's like people don't approve of us doing certain things because they think well, TikTok, okay, don't get on TikTok, you're too old. You know, you don't, you know, technology isn't for you, you don't know anything about it, you know. Don't learn something new, don't learn code, you know, whatever. Or you can't, but then it's okay, go out and run a marathon. That's great. I'm wondering, does anybody else think that maybe it's in physical things, it's okay for us to try and stretch ourselves, but otherwise we shouldn't get too pushy as old people?
Hmm.
That's hard to
Right.
answer because I'm a pushy broad.
Me too, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care if they think
too.
I'm pushy, but
Yeah.
but it makes me mad when they think I'm being pushy.
Yeah.
It's okay. What do they know?
That's right. What do
That's
they
right,
know?
I've forgotten more than you'll ever know.
Totally.
And I have forgotten more.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
You
Yeah.
all sound like you have a pretty strong self-image, which is, I think, is awesome, because I tell my people all the time, and they just kind of look at me when I tell them that it's me I love best in all the world, and they're just kind of like, what? It's like
How
you gotta,
dare you say that?
Yeah, well, you
but I
have
think
to
that's
love
important.
yourself
So
before
how
somebody.
important do you think self-image is in this whole process of aging, I guess, gracefully? Or I have a friend, actually we think she's probably Daryl's cousin, because the last name's the same and they're all related somehow. But she has this thing she calls, a book that she calls Aging Disgracefully. So maybe that's our thing. We're not aging gracefully anymore, we're aging disgracefully. I should have invited Penelope to be on here. But how important do you think that is, that strong self-image of who we are and what we do?
Well, I think it's very important. And I think that you said I love myself. I think that's equally, if not even more important. You know, you're no good to anybody if if you don't love yourself, there's no you to give to help anybody else. And I think that's part of this self-image. You have to respect and treat yourself well, because if you do, you have nothing to give to others.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
So
Plus, you become a role model. People look up to you when you have a good self-image. And I don't know, for me, I don't know if I call it self-image. I'm very confident. I've always been very confident. I was very lucky to have been brought up to be confident in myself. And my mother would tell you, she would say to me, oh, you always got into trouble. And I never got into trouble. I just went on adventures. And that was my whole attitude about life, just was one adventure after another. And I had a great time doing all of it. Just,
Right there. Your mom said you got into trouble. Well,
yeah,
for her, conflict was trouble. And for you, it was an adventure. It's an attitude. It's a difference in attitude.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
That's
That's
exactly right.
attitude is the central thing.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever been in a place where people are at the end of life? You know, like I remember going to visit my grandmother when she was in her 90s and she had Parkinson's. And you see these people, their whole life goes by in whatever it is they say to you in a very short amount of time. You can tell a person's whole life story in 60 seconds. And because their attitude is the only thing that's left. Everybody has come and gone. You know, it is what it is, and that's all that it is. And so it's the attitude that they have about that tells you everything that there is in their whole life. I really
Yeah.
believe that your attitude is what makes you who you are and creates everything that you can drum up as a possibility.
It's also what makes your life either a good life and a happy life or a miserable, bitter life.
Exactly, exactly. And that's what I mean. You can see it in people's faces. You know, that's one of the things about getting older. It's like, what do you want to remember? What do you want to hold on to? If you want to hold on to the good stuff, you've got a great attitude and you're going to do well with it. If all you do is rake over all your grievances, you have a miserable life. You know, you insist on it. Right?
And you don't, I mean, we're talking about ageless and not and aging well. You know,
Mhm.
probably the most important thing to that is your attitude. Um,
Mhm.
you know, if you're smiling, you look younger. If you're angry and you're frowning and you're whatever, and you're, you know, hello wrinkles, first of all. But yeah, I think, yeah, you said it back there, and now I can't. I wish I remember the exact words you said, but it's your attitude is what I think is going to determine whether or not you're living an ageless life, and it's certainly going to determine whether you're miserable or happy or
Yeah.
content or whatever word you want to use.
Yeah. Yeah. What's that saying? Attitude is like a flat tire. You're not going anywhere until you change it.
I've heard that. I like it.
That's good.
I have not heard
And I-
that, but I like that.
One of my favorites.
It's good.
So I do know how to change a flat tire.
There you go.
Yeah.
I can change my attitude, so I know how to change a flat tire.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
Sharon's a runner, and she's real big into health and well. That's actually how I really became friends with her, because she inspired me to take a little better control of my own health. And I think that, like she said, that running is such a big part of who she is. It's what she does. It's her thing. And I think it goes a long way towards keeping her healthy and youthful. But what are some other things that you guys do? What kind of self-care practices, rituals, whatever? What do you guys do to maintain that positive self-perception, that image?
I think
Well,
for me,
eating well. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
okay,
Oh,
I
no,
was
you go
gonna
ahead.
say, for me, it's taking responsibility for the way I feel and for healing myself. So I always say, if I can go to the doctor and get a diagnosis, I can take care of it. If I don't know what it is, that's when I have a hard time transforming something or curing it. So, and I found that to be true. And I now rely on herbs. I gave up almost all of the medicine that comes from the pharmacy. And I go herbal and organic. And it's made a huge difference. I'll give you one experience I recently had. I had a massive E. coli infection in a kidney not a kidney, a UTI. And the doctor's like, well, I'm going to give you some antibiotics. And I said, no, don't waste them. I'm not going to take them. And I went home and I made some oregano tincture, and I took the oregano tincture, and within 4 days it was gone. Went back and had another blood test, no sign of the E. coli, gone.
Nice.
So that's for me, is living well, is taking responsibility for myself and not putting what I consider poison into my body.
Yeah, it definitely has to do what you put into your body physically, food wise, is
Yes.
just as important as what you put into your body and your mind. You know, emotionally. What am I saying? You know, what your attitude. In other words, are you going to wake up and be happy and feed yourself happy, or you're going to feed yourself junk?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of times, Terry, it's not even the food that we eat, even if it's junk food, it's the attitude that goes along with it. Like, how many times have you eaten something and said to yourself, I probably shouldn't be eating this?
Oh, the guilt. Oh, that horrible guilt. Yeah.
Right. And
You know,
that's where
moderation.
it comes from. If you eat it and you're happy about it and you don't care and you don't put that guilt on yourself, you don't gain weight from it.
No, and you know what? If you want a donut, eat a bloody donut, because and enjoy it, not just eat it, but enjoy it, love it, because if you don't, you are going to go back to that refrigerator. And I have had a weight problem my whole life, so I know about this stuff. Okay, you're going to keep going back until you satisfy. It's not the donut, okay, until you satisfy that desire that you want to feed. So if the donut, and what it is that the donut made you happy for a minute, it's happiness, whatever it is. Take the guilt out of it. The guilt is the most dangerous thing that we put in our body.
Yep, totally agree with you.
Yeah, I had a turtle Sunday yesterday to celebrate my birthday.
Yay, and happy birthday, by the way.
That was fun. It took me forever to eat it, and my husband was very patiently already finished with what he had, and just waiting and waiting because it had all these nuts, and my teeth are not all that great anymore. That's the one thing that's aging too fast, are my teeth. But anyway, but it was fun. It was so nice.
Well, plus you were savoring your turtle Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you savor, if whatever you, that's a good word, savor. Okay. Whatever
Like
you're doing, savor it. Okay. Take a second and enjoy it for what it is. You know, eating, drinking, exercise, whatever you're doing, we do so many things automatically without even considering them. And it's the little stuff that, I don't know about anybody else, but it's the little things that make me happy. It's looking over and watch. Okay, this sounds stupid. I watch my cat snore. Okay. And
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I just
Snoring
look
right
over
now.
and he's over there just, oh, and snoring. And it's just so cute. And I will stop and I will just sit there and watch him do that for a minute or two. And the joy is unbelievable. It's the little things. It's also the little things that drive me crazy. It's the paper cuts. It's the, it's not that a rock fell on my house and crushed my house. Okay. It's that I'm sitting in my house and the phone is ringing every 2 seconds when I'm just trying to watch a TV show or do some art. Okay. All the little tiny things that pick at you. Pick, 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 pick. Okay. It's the little things that'll drive you crazy, but it's also the little things that'll give you such great joy in my snoring cat. Okay. That's a good book title, by the way.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Betty meet Terry.
Snoring cat.
Terry meet Betty. Betty helps people write their books. Betty, Terry has a book.
Well, actually, I've published how many? 7 books now? Wait,
Yes.
1, 2, 3, or 8, 7 or 8.
Oh, fun. Fun.
But not like that. I haven't, that would be a cute little kid's book or something, but
Yeah, or just a general happiness book.
well, yeah, even better. I mean, actually, because that's what we're talking about. It's like,
Yeah.
when my friend came over to do that, I said, just don't worry about the end product. Don't worry about being a great artist. Enjoy doing the art. The art is doing it. It's not the end product. That's a
Exactly.
painting. That's not art. And so just get the joy out of it. And I lost the point, well, there's this 73. There it shows up. I lost the point of what I was talking about.
That can happen at any age.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, brain.
Well, I take a walk every morning. The first thing that I do is take my herbs and my health protocols, get myself dressed, make my bed, put my Chihuahua sweater on, which makes him try to bite me every single time, and then get out the door, because moving around first thing in the morning, really, it does a lot of things for me. It improves my locomotion. It gives me air in my brain. It gives me a sense of perspective. I can appreciate the fact that I live in a beautiful area, and it's safe, and there's wonderful people that I run into along the walk. Not all of them are wonderful, but some of them are. And, so it's a great way to start the day. And I've been doing that for years and years. Then when I get back, I like to write out a series of positive statements. right after I eat breakfast, I write out a series of positive statements, and I actually write certain ones every day. Although I do skip days because otherwise it's not creative. If it's something you force yourself, no. But it's really helpful because it anchors my nervous system and gets me in tune with, okay, here's where I'm going next. I'm going to be heading into work. But by then, I have actually established an energy field that I can identify with, and I feel competent. Because when I first wake up, that may not be the case, you know. I have to take a vitamin B to set my brainwave in order and then go on from there. So with that, for me, that little ritual really anchors me and gives me the ability to say, okay, bring it on. I'll see what I can do.
Well, I'm going
Yeah.
with Sharon. I'm going to go get a turtle sundae. That
Yeah,
just sounds good now. I'm
it
sitting
does
here
sound
thinking
good, huh?
turtle sundae.
Yeah,
That might be my
yeah.
dinner.
Sounds
I need to
really
go get me a
good.
turtle sundae.
Oh, goodness.
Ah.
Well, one of the things that I do along with my husband is we do a fasting day about once every 2 weeks, where we use a product that also cleanses the cells, but we don't eat anything on that day except for that um, herbal concoction, which I can't tell you what all's in there, but oh my goodness, it's just a major reset of my whole system. Um, Cravings go away. You know, it's just an amazing thing. So that's one of the rituals that we do. One other one in the evening, my husband and I watch at least one episode of whatever it is that we're watching together on TV, and he rubs my feet. Occasionally, if he puts his feet up, I'll rub his, but he mostly rubs mine.
Oh,
Uh,
how nice.
and that's really nice. That's one of our rituals. Just, you know, makes us happy.
Yeah.
I want
Good
to know how
stuff.
you got him to do that.
Yeah, really well trained.
I'm going to touch on something that might be in in the current social political environment, and I try not to ever bring politics or anything into these because we all have our own viewpoints, and as long as we're all nice and kind and not hurtful to each other, I don't care what y'all believe. But this is probably going to maybe irritate a few people when they listen to it. I don't care. But I live in a fairly diverse, I guess. I live in poultry country. Okay, I live in poultry country, and if you've been watching the news lately, you know that there's a lot of uproar right now about a particular poultry company that's known for hiring immigrant workers. And having worked for them, I can tell you that they're not doing anything wrong, but I'm not even going to get into all that. What I want to get into is, because I've worked with so many of these women in the past, and I know that they, even more so than us, I mean, we feel it just because we're old, but I hate to say it, we're old, but we're white. They feel it even more. I've watched them, I've seen it myself. How can we make sure that no woman is left behind when it comes to aging? How can we make sure that all these discussions about aging and all the what we're discovering, how can we make sure that we include all women, regardless of background, regardless of identity, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of all of that crap that doesn't really matter? How do we make sure we include them?
Because we band ourselves together as women, not as any particular ethnic background, race, religion, political stance. Because it's all women. All women have suffered at the hands of the patriarchy for millennia, and unfortunately, the more, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, the white women, we have it bad, but not as bad as some women do. We need to band together as women, period, just women. You know, that's a personal thing with me, because I've been fighting that my whole life, the discrimination against women. I mean, I grew up in this, you know, I mean, I became of age in the 70s. I was 21 years old and wasn't allowed to have a bank account.
Yeah.
I had to have my father sign for a bank account for me. In the 70s, a man had to put his name on your bank account. And it was
Right.
my money, my job, and I didn't even live at home. I mean,
Yeah.
people don't realize that, just as, you know, I mean, it seems the 70s seems a long time ago, but for us, it was just our youth. And, you know, we have women, you know, I mean, we need to get past the ethnic barriers and the color barriers and band together as women, and see ourselves as women, and you know, stand together that way. It's divide and conquer is what's going on, and if you don't let them divide you, you have much more power. And you know, I mean, that's at least the way I see it. Outside of anything else, the most discriminated group is women, over and above everything else. I mean, we've been discriminated against since recorded history, because recorded history is controlled by the patriarchy, you know. And then I went political. Sorry about that, Melodia.
Well, this is
But
for the tribe,
I
so
was
you know.
trying to answer that question as politely as politically as possible.
But it's true what you
You know what,
said.
I think that it's important, as you mentioned, we are a certain subset of women. And for us to really create effective alliances and communications with others who don't have the same background, we need to be friendly and not make assumptions, you know, and be ready to listen, be ready to understand, to seek to understand first before we try to make our point. Because as much as we've been denied a voice in larger conversations, it's more so for the people that we want to create these alliances with.
Yep.
So we need to be ready to receive what they have to say in the spirit that they give it.
You know, that old saying, put yourself in somebody else's shoes, however, whatever it is. Okay. You know, walk a mile in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
We have not, nobody has really done that enough. I mean, we all need to, I mean, my eyes were open when I stopped and realized, okay, first of all, men get so surprised when they hear that almost every woman on the planet is scared to go and walk alone at night anywhere. They don't even, that doesn't even occur to them. They're not afraid because they're men, because they're the ones we're afraid of. So they're not afraid of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they haven't, and so because of today's climate, some men, if they're listening and care, they're going, oh, really? You're afraid to go out and walk? Oh, wait, you're afraid to, I'm afraid to get out of my car and go into the bathroom in a gas station after dark. Okay. I mean, there's so many things that women are afraid of. And then there's also so many things that people of color are afraid of, that I had to stop and think. You mean you can't just get into your car and drive down the street and not think about it, because that car might be too ritzy for who you are, and you might get pulled over, which I would never even be afraid of having happen to me, so I wouldn't think about it. We don't put ourselves in other people's shoes enough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never realized how pervasive it really was until my brother-in-law moved here. He's Oriental, Japanese, Chinese. He lived in Hawaii most of his life, but when he married my sister, they moved to Dallas. And one of the things he first mentioned to me was he was just totally blown away by how often he got pulled over because they thought he was Hispanic.
Right.
And he's like, and I never,
And for no reason.
Yeah, for no
for
reason.
something that it wouldn't even happen to us, and we wouldn't even think about. I mean, do you think? Okay, do you think when you get pulled over, okay, do you think, okay, put my hands on the steering wheel where they can see them?
No.
No, we don't have to, do we? But people of color do. And whatever you do not bend down. And, if your purse is on the floor and you're a person of color, don't bend down and grab it. And so they can't see you, I mean, because we didn't experience that. It's not in our purview. It's scary. And, the same thing with women. Men don't understand that fear. I mean, you have to get covers. If you go out to have drinks with your friends, you have to take covers for your glasses now. I mean, it's so pervasive, everything that's so bad, and women are so scared out there that they have to cover their drinks or they don't go out, or, I mean, at least I had some of that, it wasn't as bad, or I was too stupid and I was lucky, okay, which is more than likely the case. Yeah, it just, I don't know.
No, it's out there because it was just last week we were out and we were at a place where we had to use the public restroom. And as I was walking down the hallway to the restroom, there was this girl standing out there and she's like, "Are you going to the bathroom?" And I said, "Yes." She goes, "Can I go with you? I don't want to go in there alone." I was like, "Well, yeah, let's have a party. Come on." But people
Yeah.
always like, why do women all go together to the bathroom? Well, now you know, guys, because we're terrified to go in there alone. Okay. Because we don't know who's waiting or what's waiting, because we're afraid. It's the way you always think. That's why we travel in pairs always.
That's right. And there is
So-
one thing that I learned this lesson at 5 years old. If we stand together, we are so strong that there's not anything we can't accomplish. And when we first moved, I'm from New York originally, and we moved to Florida. I was 5 years old. We moved to Southern Florida. Like the Seminole Indian Reservation was my backyard. That's how wild it was. And my neighbor, my first friend there was a little black girl, and she was my age. We were both 5 years old, and we became really close friends. And my neighbor took a brick and wrote "nigger lover" on it and threw it through our plate glass window, and then threw paint on our yard. And he was just terrible. He did all kinds of awful, disgusting things. And the police had to get involved. So that was my first exposure with racism. But my friend, we were a little older, it was like maybe the next year, the year after, we went to the Woolworths there, which was, the big deal in town was Woolworths. You go there, they had a lunch counter, and my mother gave us money for the two of us to go sit and have lunch. And they wouldn't serve her lunch. They told me, "You have to get your friend away from here. She's not allowed to sit." And this was in the 50s.
Yeah.
Right. So she had to leave the lunch counter, and I went crying to my mother. I go, "I don't understand what's happening. And what are we going to do about it?" My mother goes, "Well, I don't think we can." No, what are we going to do about it? It's like, we need to do something. So she went, and my mother, I mean, being Jewish women, we also were subjected to hatred for that, right? So we knew what that felt like. It wasn't like I just kind of felt bad for my friend. I knew what it felt like.
Yeah.
So my mother went to her sisterhood ladies and said, "Do you have any ideas? Because my daughter is insistent that we do something." And she goes, "I don't have a clue." And they said, "Let's picket." And all the women got together and we all went and picketed the Woolworths, and they capitulated and let my friend sit at the lunch counter with me.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
So that was a lesson I learned at 5 years old.
Yeah.
Or 6
Yeah.
years old. I was 6 when that one happened. And if we all stand together, and it's going to take a while, because not all women feel the way we do. Not all women care.
Right.
Some of them drink the Kool-Aid, and they think they have to be subjective to their husbands, and doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to go, because I don't have one nice thing to say about it. So I'm just going to shut up.
Yeah. Well, I'm right there with you, so I'll shut up too.
It's interesting. because we were in Brazil for about almost 30 years as missionaries, and I experienced some of that from the opposite perspective because everyone around me was not white. There were very
That's
few
different.
that
Yeah.
had light skin coloring.
Yeah.
And there were times when I would walk to the grocery store about a block and a half away from where we lived, and with kind of fear and trembling, I would not ever take my purse. I would always put just a little bit of cash in my pocket, and just very, very, very carefully, and being very aware of the circumstances and the people around me. It was, so I kind of, I experienced that whole thing from the opposite direction.
Yeah.
But we are not, I mean, despite what people want to think, humans are not evolved. We are not evolved. Okay. I'm sorry. If you just said it, if it's not, it has, honestly, it's not skin color, it's not ethnicity, it's just that we have to find a way to feel better than everybody else, because most of us feel so powerless and so weak that there has to be somebody below us to make us feel better, because we are that unevolved. So we're always going to, until the human race evolves, this prejudice is always going to be out there, and in one form or another.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about that except for hope that we actually physically evolve a little bit. But I mean, and I think we can. I mean, the witness of this group here, where we're talking, and this is a group of intelligent women. We are thinking, we are considering. I mean, it takes a willingness to change and to want to make the world a better place, and to be willing to look into yourself. I had to look at myself, and I am prejudiced. I'm prejudiced. I can't be white and not be prejudiced. I grew up, I didn't have experiences like some of you guys did. I grew up in Kansas. I don't even think we had somebody that was a white in my neighborhood or my school. I wasn't even aware there was such a thing. Okay. So, that's how privileged I was,
I'm gonna on video for a minute, fix the curtain. I can't stand this.
Go for it.
Well, while she's gone, she'll be back in a second. She just turned off her video, but listening to y'all, it's just all amazing. But ageism was the focus here, is what I really wanted to talk about, and we kind of got sidetracked a little bit. But if you follow me for any length of time, you know that happens with me. Okay, I have the attention span of a gnat. You all know that, so we're all good. So let's get back on track.
And we follow right along with you, or led the way.
But we digress. Yeah.
So back to talking about ageism. Okay.
Okay.
Well, which is another thing to discriminate against,
which is another ism.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's another ism.
Okay. That's how we got there, Melodian, because
it's another ism.
Same thing with ageism that we can do with racism. If we all stand up together and support each other and advocate for each other, all that will eventually change over time and go away.
So how do we do that? How do we get women? How do we get women to embrace their age and celebrate their age, rather than feeling like we have to conceal it or deny it? I mean, I get asked all the time, aren't you embarrassed? Aren't you embarrassed to admit how old you are? No, I'm proud. I'm 67. I'm proud of it. Okay.
Yeah, some people never make. The thing is, the best way to encourage people to do it is to do it yourself. Stand up, whatever it is, I mean, I've gotten to a point where, I'm not letting people make, what's the word I'm looking at? People, I'm overweight, and people can make the rudest little comments that they think they're entitled to me. under the guise of, oh, well, I just want you to be healthy, or, blah, blah, blah. Or, people come up and go, well, do you exercise? People ask me questions that they have no right to ask. Okay. Because I'm overweight. And I have decided I'm not taking that anymore. And when somebody does that, I go, and who taught you how to be such a rude person? Or I'm sorry, I'm confronting them. What gives you the right to ask me that question? Did
Yeah.
I turn around and say, hey, go to school because you're stupid? You're telling me to exercise? I said, hey, I can lose weight, but you aren't going to grow a brain. Okay. I'm sorry, but I'm getting angry about it, and I'm talking back. I'm not going to, for years and years, I would just say, just let it go. It's not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. But it is a big deal. You go home and don't you sit there and think about it and then get upset that they said it to you. And it goes on and on and on. Once I snot off at them, and pardon my expression, I don't go home and feel bad. They can go home and feel bad. Nanner, nanner, nanner. You were rude. Stop it. And people are so impolite. People got to be called on their behavior. I don't care what it is. And we have to have the courage to do it. We have to have the courage to do it. And I think that the more people who do it, the more people will admire it, and the more people who will also do it. You do teach by example, or whatever the expression is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that, Terry. It's like, call them on it. And somebody asks you a question that is of entitlement. It's like, well, who wants to know and why? Or, what gives you who died and left you God? Or, anything that's like that. And then they kind of,
you're the Jane Fonda of exercise.
maybe they won't try that the next time,
Yeah. I just did it. Well, I didn't just do it. It was maybe about a year back, but I was out and I was in my wheelchair, and I'm overweight, and people look at the wheelchair and they look at the weight and they think I'm in the wheelchair because I'm overweight. And, they just make these assumptions. Of course, the opposite is true. All right. But, and just normally I don't. And this man came up to me, and I swear he was waiting to butt into the conversation because I saw him hovering by. And he came up and he said hello and said some normal hello things. And then he said, he started on about diet. He says, there's a really good diet out now. And I go, who was talking about diets? I said, I didn't bring up diets. What are you bringing up diets? Because I'm fat? Do you think I don't know I'm fat? I just turned around and I said, do you think I don't know I'm fat? Do you think I'm stupid now too? So I'm fat and stupid. And I'm in there confronting him. I mean, I was mad, but I was kind of smiling, you think I'm fat and stupid? Wow. And then he's just kind of going, oh my God, he's horrified. Well, he should have been.
Yeah.
That's
so rude. I mean, that's incomparably rude. Like, seriously.
Yeah, and here's the thing, we don't want to be rude back. Why is it okay for them to be rude? And
it's
not
okay to be rude back.
Yeah, it is.
Much better to be rude back.
Yeah, he need to be called, people need to be called on some things, okay? Yeah. And I'm getting so, like in grocery stores, I mean, some things, what is it about grocery store lines? When you're in line for groceries, some of the meanest crap happens when you're waiting to buy groceries. And I've seen and I've seen checkers be horrible to people. I've seen other people in line, and I'm at a point where it's like I join in the fray. I'm tired of it. Okay. And because I'm in a wheelchair, they don't pick on me. They can't pick, they can't pick on me because I'm in a wheelchair. So I figure, okay, I'm kind of like I got this dome of protection around me because I'm handicapped. So I'll say it because no one else will.
Yeah.
But I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of people thinking that they're so entitled and that they can get away with it. And then that other person that they attacked or did it to, they go home and it makes them feel not only bad for that day, sometimes that affects people for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Those things can be hurtful.
Exactly. So yeah, standing up for human rights is what it is, really. Like nobody has the right to ruin somebody else's day.
Yeah. Just out of pettiness and meanness or or I want to feel better than you, and it just angers me so much. I don't like bullies.
Yeah, you and me both, sister.
Okay,
Yeah.
last question, guys, because we've run over our time as always.
Sorry.
But that's okay. So for each of you, think about this. We all agree that we need to change how women are perceived as they age, that ageism is real and it needs to stop, and that we need to include all women. So looking ahead, what changes would you like to see in how society perceives us and supports us as we age? And what are some things that we can do to make these changes reality? Because it starts with us. I'm gonna
I
start.
don't think our society supports us anymore. That's, I mean, I don't think our society supports us aging. That's the problem. And I'm just tired of being told you can't wear that as an old person. You can't do that as an old person. Don't wear your hair long. Don't cut your hair short. Don't do things like this. Okay. Don't do purple hair. You can't do that. No, 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 no. I'm tired of being told what I can't do as an old person.
So how do we change that? What's something we can do to change that?
Do it and tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Irene Marpel did. She just dressed. She's the one, she passed away recently at 90 something, but
She's
she
my
wore the,
idol.
yeah,
I
she's
loved
amazing.
her. Oh yeah.
I
She's
want to be
amazing.
her.
So we can be her. We can carry that spirit forward,
Yeah.
pull out that
So-
color, make that statement. Don't be afraid to make an ass of yourself. If you're supposedly invisible anyway, who cares? And,
where that starts though, Betty, I think, is that we have to really accept the truth about ourselves.
yeah.
Like, I know I'm fat. I'm over 200 pounds. And I'm only 5'1" so that's big.
Mhm.
Okay. It is what it is. That's my attitude. It is what it is.
Right.
I weigh this much. I'm 74. It is what it is, but I totally embrace it.
Mhm.
I totally embrace it. It's who I am. I don't care if you like it or not. You don't need to
Yeah.
be in my life if you don't like it. And I don't
Yeah,
want
there
you
you go.
if
Yeah.
you don't like it. Right? So, and I don't like to engage people who are mean or bullies, or I just say to them, who are you to be in my life like this? I didn't invite you. You have no
Yeah.
right. So just bye.
Mhm.
Turn
Oh,
around
I
and
like
leave.
that. I didn't invite you. I'm going to use that. I didn't invite you to be rude to me.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't invite you. Leave.
No way. I like
Yeah.
that.
And sometimes they'll say, who the F do you think you are? Saying
That's
the
more
whole
like me.
Or you could just say, check out who gave you a ticket to this show,
Yeah.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Anything like that works, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't engage in a back and forth like that with them. It's not worth your energy.
No, it's not.
You're talking to an energy vampire.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No,
that's
I have an entire arsenal of phrases to use to tell people to get the H out of here. My mother was one of the most sarcastic people who ever lived, and I learned from her, how to get rid of somebody in a hot hurry. It wasn't all fun and games, but that was a useful skill to get. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Sharon? What changes do you think we need to see, and how do we fix this? How do we stop being old women? We're not, but how do we help others not be old women? I guess that's my thing. I don't think of myself as old. I just don't. I don't even
Well,
think
how about platforms? We all have platforms. You've got blogs. I actually have blogs, which I haven't done anything much with recently, but why can't I actually do little what I call PSAs. I do little artwork that puts out a positive message. Oh, I have one that says, embrace weird. Okay. I mean, I put those out every once in a while. I say things like that and I do things like that. artistically. I'll do something cute and put a little saying on it. Um, but you have blogs. I mean, can't you do exactly this only on your blog? Say, you know,
Doing. I'm doing it right here. We're
yeah,
doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we, you know, and we need to reach the. I have a lot of friends that aren't. They're not as out there as I am. Okay, I'll admit, I'm more. What's the word? Well, I'm more in your face. Okay, I wasn't when I was younger. And I think that's why I am so much now. It's like, you know, I don't have to care anymore. So now I can be who I really am. Okay. And you can't tell me I can't wear go-go boots and a London trench coat because it's not cool, you know, in 1969, you know. I went home crying. Okay. Um, I think again, lead by example, but encourage people. If they do something on you. Oh, I took a friend, I got her a pedicure and she was going to do red. And I says, do something fun. Do fluorescent yellow and paint little happy faces on them or something. And she did it. She goes, I have more fun with those toenails. I said, see, it's just fun. You're so afraid of being different. We have to, you know, and kind of embrace it a little bit. Just maybe encourage people.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think fun is a great word to use, you know, and just project fun. Like, stop
Yeah,
taking everything so stinking seriously. That's one
serious.
of the biggest problems we have as a society, is everybody wants to make everything into a job. And so, you know, like, no, just
Yeah,
live and have fun doing it. And if
yeah,
it's not
everything.
fun,
Yeah,
say no.
yeah. You're right. Everything is so serious, and it's like, you know, people have forgotten how they've forgotten how to embrace joy and
Yeah.
embrace it, you know. Why are we so ashamed of our inner child? Why are we so you know, afraid to let that child have some fun, you know, to go out and do something, you know, stomp in a rain puddle, skip, and encourage other people to do it. It's like, I'm old, I can't do that now. It's not decorous. Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow,
Yeah.
stomping in a rain puddle. Terry, speak for yourself. I had to go stomping in a rain puddle to rescue my daughter's puppies the other
Uh-oh.
night in the driving rainstorm. I did not think that was fun.
No, that would not be, no, that would not be fun.
That's
Um, you know,
it's context there. Yeah.
yeah. And if I was wearing a pair of $500 suede shoes, no, I
Yeah.
would not be jumping in a puddle. Okay. That would
No,
not be fun to me. But, you know,
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you know, it's like, uh, I don't know. We've lost the concept of fun, and it's actually, we didn't lose it. I think it's driven out of us. You know,
Mm.
it's driven out of us, and now at earlier and earlier ages, it seems like, you know, little kids can't have fun. It's like, you know, I don't know, stop it. And my art it is all about that child, that inner child. It's coloring again. Okay,
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it brings such joy, and it has for me. And I like to see other people experience that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going around the block here, what's each of you, what's one change that you would like to see in how we're perceived as we age, how society perceives us and supports us as we age? What's one big change that you would like to see? Julia?
Well, I would like to see women in particular not be invisible. I want women to be seen and heard and taken like they have a brain. And that when they say something to you, especially to a doctor, that they're taken seriously. I know my body. I know when something is wrong. I know how to communicate that, and to not be heard and to be ignored and being told it's your imagination. That just, nothing makes me more angry. And it takes a lot to make me angry, but that's one thing that makes me angry. So I would like to see that changed. How to bring that about? I think it's really just confronting your physicians and care providers. Really.
Call them on it.
It's in the confrontation because that's where they learn. Some of
Yep.
them, like this young doctor, he wasn't even aware he was doing it.
No, they kind of teach that arrogant attitude in medical school.
Yeah, it's what he was taught, and he wasn't even aware. But after I let him have it, both barrels, he became aware of it, and he actually made some changes. So that was a good thing.
What about you, Sharon?
The changes are possible.
I think just what we've talked about a lot here is being yourself, and as being yourself, be an example to others. And I think that is probably, I don't know of any other way we can really change how women are viewed. Just
That's one of the strongest ways.
yeah.
Yeah.
Betty?
Well, I think respect is a key theme from everything we've talked about. And women need to have complete respect for themselves and for the wisdom that we offer, and demand respect from the world, and all these things that we've talked about of confronting those who don't have respect. I think that's really the core issue for all human beings. But in this discussion, that's what we have the right to demand. That we're the ones. The men can't even get here without us. Okay, so we need to stand up for our rights, literally, like the man said. And
Yeah.
Terry?
I just saw an interesting meme today, and it was some guy's picture, some movie star, I don't know who he was, and there was a big number, like the world population. And then it said, and then after that it was, and how many of these people came from women? And then it was that big number again. And then how many came from men? And it was a big zero. It says, so what gives you the right to speak for women? It was great. I should have copied it.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, it'll come around again.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was awesome. Hopefully this will help some people start thinking about how to I don't know, how to celebrate all the, when people ask me where do I think and I do get this question, where do I get off trying to teach people how to market online and how to use social media when I'm as old as I am and didn't grow up with it like they did. And I'm like, number one, there's more to marketing than techniques and skills, and there's other things involved. It's understanding people, it's psychology, it's you can have all the bells and whistles, and if you don't know how to tap into someone's thought process and their emotions and trigger that little reflex that says I want to buy or I want to subscribe or I want to click that whatever, if you don't know how to do that, it doesn't matter. Okay, I don't care if you're a TikTok whiz. If you don't know how to do that, it's irrelevant. So hopefully this will get people to understand that we all come with years and years of wisdom and experience that none of y'all have, and you might want to listen to what we have to say because we've been there, we've done that, we've done everything that you guys are doing. We've already done all that. Okay, been there, done that, got the t-shirts, got a closet full of them to prove it. Okay, so
Right.
So I want to thank you ladies for being with me today. I really enjoyed the conversation. As usual, we talked way more than we probably should have, and we digressed a little bit, but hey, that's who I am. And if you like me, you learn to live with it. And if you don't, scroll on by. I don't care. Okay. Hit that little unsubscribe button. However, I hope you loved it, and therefore you will hit the actual subscribe button. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all that stuff, because this is a brand new podcast, brand new YouTube, and I'm hoping that you love it and will help me grow by subscribing, liking, sharing, and all that good stuff. So ladies, any final words of wisdom before we click out?
I just want to say it was lovely to meet all you ladies, and I really enjoyed this and meeting all of you, and thank you, Melodian. And sorry I can't shut my mouth.
It's okay. You have good
No,
things. And I echo that. I really had a great time meeting all of you. It's so enriching to me to have conversations with intelligent women. It makes such a difference in my life. And what I would say to the listeners out there is be your authentic self. Just embrace who you are and don't let anybody tell you you're not good enough
Or you're too old.
or you're too old or too fat or
There
too
you go. Yeah. You're not too
Yes.
anything. You're just right.
Let's be real.
That's perfect. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
ladies, thank you
absolutely.
so much for being here.